Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of the Substitute Podcast. This is episode 16. We're continuing the post-com intro thing. And this episode, I am joined by the PokéPals, who are Charceus and it's Nicola. And I hope you enjoy. Yeah, I can't actually remember where we were.
No. PSA returns.
Oh yeah. So have either of you submitted anything to PSA or any other grading companies for that matter? Because I've sent stuff to others as well.
Yeah, funnily enough, as we've been on here, I got my Majesty grading cards are out for delivery for Monday. I'm not very clued up in the world of grading, which is why I'm trying to understand it a bit more. But I've got a couple of slabs that I like for presentation and preserving purposes. And they were Majesty. I've got an Eevee on the ball Majesty grading company. So I wanted to get all the on the ball ones that I have done there so they can be all lined up nicely with the same label. So I did their monthly sub, which is like £35 for 5 cards with a 2 to 8 week turnaround, I think it is. And I've sent off 2 months worth, and this is the first one coming back. But just a bit of casual fun for me, I think, at the moment.
I think for most people though, that's all it can be, right? It's like I submitted some sports stuff to MGC because I think they're really good.
Yeah.
I was in their 500 club when they started.
Oh,
so
awesome!
I got like a card graded for free, and then I used them. I actually graded 101 Dalmatians cards with them because I put up my story and was like, oh, who wants to, who will grade this? And then I didn't realize someone who follows me contacted them and was like, oh, would you grade this? And they DM me and was like, yeah, we'll do it if you just tell us what they are. So I did.
God, awesome.
So I've got those, and then I just sent some sports stuff because if you look at I know it's not all about the money, but if you look at MGC now, like if your cards get like a good grade, like a 9 or a 10, it actually does add quite a lot of value.
Yeah, they're doing all right. I see they share stuff like that as well, which I think is nice, don't they, on their feed? But also I do think that subscription is like a genius way to increase their load, because for people like me that want to try out a grading company, £7 a card is nothing lost, right? Really, on submitting a handful every once in a while. It's low pressure, low stakes, and I think they'll get a lot of custom that way. I think quite a few people, we have there's like a Pokemon girls group chat, and quite a lot of the girls in there have been using it as well. So I think they've had quite good uptake with it.
I think that's definitely something I want to do, because I'm one of those people that I still, even though I know there's so many grading companies, the thought of sending my cards somewhere still makes me feel a bit sick and worry. But I would like to send off a few Pikachus and just some smaller cards, or some Snubble cards, because obviously Snubble's my favorite Pokemon. Just a few to have just for myself rather than from a value point of view. But at the same time, I know that the 3 or 4 Charizards I do have, they should be graded really to protect them for the future, but it's still that thought of sending them somewhere, even though I know it's a very normal thing. It's just that in the back of my mind thing.
That's very down the road compared to sending to PSA. I think I see PSA as this beast, and I'm like, oh, the cards have to travel really far. And something else I was going to say, even for not so much for Majesty, but I was looking at a lot of the companies websites and stuff, and I don't find the instructions super intuitive, or a lot of the advice intuitive. And I'm sure once you've done it a couple of times, but I found it a bit I'm not 100% clear on the most efficient way to do this.
Yeah, I think that's the thing with PSA is PSA back in the day, I say back in the day, 3 years ago, used to always be the premium option, Beckett and PSA were if you had an expensive card, you just submit to them. Whereas what happened is, because everyone submitted everything to PSA, not so much Beckett, but PSA mainly, it became this sort of like catch-all option where if you pack anything half decent, you just send it to PSA. And I feel like PSA are now doing that thing where by, restricting it and making it harder and more valuable, they're kind of making it the premium option again. And places like MGC, and like a lot of people submitted to Ace. I personally haven't.
Yeah.
I would love to submit to Ace just because of colour match labels are everything.
They have so many. Like, there's a lot of them that have never seemingly been used, but they're on their website. So they're
just waiting for people to submit those cards to match. I love that.
Because they released all of the amazing rare ones recently, and they published them all on the website. And there's someone that I know that's like a big Kyogre fan, and he was like, "Well, there's no Kyogre amazing rare label," and like there is. It's just on their website, but they've not advertised it. They just showed like 3 or 4 amazing rares, but they've done all of them.
Oh wow!
And it's like for VMAX Climax, they have one for every single character rare.
Oh my gosh!
Nicola's like, "Be right back," sending my stuff off.
I'm not sure if they've done them all yet, but they've Randolph said that they'd have every single one.
I love that.
But I just know some people have some bad experiences with Ace.
Oh right, okay.
Well, I've personally not used them, so I've not. But like, I know some people are a bit iffy about their grading. They might be a little bit harsh. And also like they've had a few like minor problems. Like there was you probably heard about it, that someone got their card sent to the wrong address.
Yeah, I did hear about that, and heard about the labels being, some of the labels were the wrong sets and years and things like that, weren't they? And little
it was like
errors like that.
Yeah, so I've it's one of those things where you always hear the bad stuff, right? Like, because if someone gets their cards back in a grade that they want and everything's fine, they won't say anything about it. But
unfortunately, there's been like obviously the surge of UK companies like popping up, so it's like you don't have the room to make those mistakes because people have the opportunity to go elsewhere, right? Quite simply and easily. It'll be interesting to see who weathers the storm, I think, over the next few years.
I'm a big MGC fan. I think like you don't hear about them a lot because they don't do anything wrong.
Yeah.
And their niche is basically been sports, because they're kind of the only half decent company that actually grade sports, because obviously Ace don't Poker grade only grade Pokemon. To be fair, Ace only grade Pokemon at the moment as well. And then Get Graded is like completely in the mud because they started off not great, but they did get taken over by someone new. So
interesting.
Yeah, they didn't have a good start at all, did they? I think I remember Instagram just being flooded with like really angry people. Well, wasn't good.
They started off with the Butterfry and kind of never recovered from there, which is a bit sad, really. But
it is sad, really.
The community is helpful in that way, though, because I feel like endorsement goes really far in a positive way. But then I guess, your reputation can be ruined in the same way. But I find it really handy to be in the community. You do have like a pool of expertise that you can touch on and just literally see the real life outputs that the grading companies are putting out there, and people's real anecdotes and experiences.
I think I think it's pretty much Beckett is the place that everyone likes the most. But then it's kind of preference. It's like PSA don't have subgrades and their wait time is like stupidly long. Whereas like some people like CGC because it's not quite as long a wait, but you get subgrades. And then some people like MGC because they grade a lot of sports, but some people don't like the MGC label, so they would rather go with like PCA in France. But then PCA's customer service isn't very good because it's in France. And like, I think they suffer quite a lot by the fact that they are a French company and have seemingly a limited amount of English speakers. Because
I see.
I've heard from I've spoken to quite a few people who submit to PCA, and they've been like, the grading is fine, and the like process is okay, and the PCA slabs are nice and cute. They're like really small. But like their customer service is not very good. So.
Yeah, their slabs are really nice. I've got a Snubble one that I bought on eBay, and it is a really nice, really cute slab.
Comes down to preference at the end of the day, I think.
I think
definitely.
that's what helps, I suppose, about there being so many grading companies in the UK now. It is down to your preference about what you want out of your slab and your cards, I guess. So there's lots of options now.
Definitely. What do you collect sports wise, Mark? You do football, right?
Yeah, and I've recently got into basketball.
Yes.
Like very very recently. So I opened some today actually, and I got a pretty expensive card. It's like 60, 70 quid.
Nice.
But the thing with sports is sometimes it's quite hard to work out. With Pokemon, it's easy to work out values generally because everyone's going for the same thing. But with sports, especially being in the UK, is there's just not that many. So like the card I pulled today is numbered out of 49. So there's only 49 of them in the world. But because there's only 49 in the world, it's hard to find the price. Whereas like
this is the thing, isn't it? Well, I've seen a lot of stuff on Instagram talking about whether that should be introduced into Pokemon, but I just think that's why sports cards are so loved in that respect, is because you've got that exclusivity. You know, that's that super special card that there is only so many. The thought of that being in Pokemon kind of scares me a bit too much. But in sports, I feel like it's definitely more acceptable because it's the norm. Like, that's how it is.
Definitely. I think you touched on it before, Mark, in another podcast where it's like, that's fine, but like the recent scalping and like product issues that we've had in Pokemon have like pretty much always been there for like sports cards like that. Just,
Yeah. We also, like Pokemon, I know we have things like the UPC, which is like £150, and that is the most expensive single product they've ever released. But like for a sports person, 150 is like cheap.
Yeah.
Like you would struggle to buy any product that's like half decent for less than sort of like £100 or so.
I agree with that 100% because I really wanted to get some AEW cards, but when I just looked at the prices, when I looked at the prices and trying to get them, I was like, nope, it's fine. That can just be a dream. That'll just be something that I'll dream about and won't ever actually have.
The thing with sports as well is like sports. Obviously, Pokemon is, if you want a particular card, it's good to buy the single, but you can, like, it can be financially viable just to like open packs until you get it. Whereas like with sports, if you open packs to find one specific card, you're just gonna like bankrupt yourself. You'll never, very very unlikely to pack one specific card because one, there's like 70 different variations of each card in all the sets, and two, it's just not financially viable because some products are like $2,000 for a box. And you get like 6 cards in it.
It'd just be too much pressure, I imagine, opening them as well. Like you wouldn't be an enjoyable experience, would it? Because you'd just be like pinning all your hopes on these few cards that you wanted, and the chances of pulling them will be too slim.
It's the reason it's so popular in America, because in most American states, gambling's actually illegal.
Yeah.
So it's an easy way to gamble without, getting in trouble. Whereas here we can just gamble on anything. It's not an issue.
Constant, everywhere, all the time.
Yeah. But yeah, sports is interesting because it's like I do want to get into it more, but it's just so expensive. Whereas like today I got super lucky. I opened 2 packs that were worth £10 each, and I pulled like a card that's maybe like, I don't know, say £70-ish. So like it's it's a good return, but it's not going to happen every time.
Yeah.
Because I opened £60 worth the other day and didn't get anything half decent. So
it is what it is. Works out.
Love a little gamble with opening some trading cards.
Yeah, my like guilty pleasure is like terrible trading cards that don't cost anything. That's like why I like 101 Dalmatians so much, because it's like they're less than they were when they were released.
I want some Shrek TCG, but I haven't. I've been kind of scouring eBay.
Who was it? There was someone. I think it was like Zedark TCG or something. Who was like ironically pushing that and like actually got people into it. It was kind of funny.
Yeah. Brilliant.
It's G.I. Joe now.
Oh.
God, G.I. Joe, 100%. Everyone's gonna want those.
Have you seen it's actually selling? Like people are buying up G.I. People are buying up G.I. Joe because of Logan Paul.
I imagine they are. I knew that would be the next thing, that people would just do it just because, to be ironic. But something, people are going to end up charging so much money for them just because, even though they're trying to be funny.
That's funny.
it's actually quite funny because like the podcast that came out yesterday as we're recording this, we actually recorded it on Wednesday night. So we predicted if it was real or fake, not realizing that the video was going to come out like 12 or 24 hours after we predicted it. So I'm glad it was right, but I wasn't that right.
Yeah, I was gonna say I haven't caught up. What did you go for?
I thought it was just unlimited base, and it was just like.
That's what I thought it was going to be. That's what I 100% thought it was going to be. I
didn't realize it would be like completely fake, which is so much worse, but also in a way so much more funny. we all kind of. I mean, I don't particularly hate Logan Paul for what he did to Pokemon because I think it was going to be, it was going to be someone who like really exploded the interest at some point or another. But like everyone kind of just like wants to laugh at Logan Paul a little bit. And I think
it's not a good thing to happen to anyone, like whatever you think of them, right? Like it's
100%. Yeah, it's not.
I think it's just
it's not a nice thing.
I think it's just because it's happened to him. He's like, it won't like, if it happened to someone, it like actually ruined their life. You'd feel a lot worse. But like with him, he'll probably be fine.
Exactly. The thing that I'm sure he's made it back with many views and all that sort of stuff. So I'm sure he's fine.
Yeah, but I think the fact that it kind of got that far, like, because the box was endorsed, right, by like a company who were like, oh, it seems pretty authentic. Like the fact that it got that far with someone that high profile, I think shows like how easily duped like just your average Joe could be with other products, right? Like I think it just shows how good the scammers can be with stuff, which isn't great.
If you look at like any big content creator like PokéRev and like TCA Gaming, they've both bought fake first edition boxes, and they, some of the most knowledgeable people around. So it could just happen to anyone, regardless of like how much knowledge you have. That's why I think there was a video where someone asked like Rusty TCA, like, would you be comfortable like authenticating a case? And he was like, yeah, no way I'd do it.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people are questioning. Yeah, I just think a lot of people are questioning though their vintage collection, like 100% now, just wondering, what products they actually have.
Yeah, I found it like a few fakes because I got gifted some vintage stuff by someone, and as I've gone through my binder like on a second view or a third view, like I picked a lot out at the start where I was like no way, but there are a couple each time that have like slipped through, and I've noticed like on a later look or whatever, and now I'm like, oh gosh.
It is interesting, is it? Because like nowadays people only tend to fake the really expensive cards, and it's usually quite obvious. Because with like a full art or whatever, the texture is usually missing on fake cards, so it's quite easy to tell. But like back in the old days, they would just fake everything, like just like regular commons and stuff. And it's a lot harder to tell the commons apart because there's very little
definitely
that's different, apart from maybe like the font usually is what's a bit different.
Yeah, I had a few fun ones with like they didn't have the accent on the E of Pokemon or like stuff like that, but otherwise it was like pretty good.
When I was in my second year of uni, me and my housemate deliberately bought some fake ones off eBay. So look, I think it was like £8 for a box of evolutions or something. And they took ages to come, like 2 months to arrive. And when they arrived, they were like the worst fakes you've ever seen. Like the names.
Was that
like,
from Wish?
Well, this was essentially Wish before Wish was really popular.
Yeah.
So like they came and they had like there was like a Caterpie EX, which was just like a picture of a Venusaur on it.
Yeah, because I've seen the Charizard that says it's got Caterpie on it. That's like the classic card that I always see floating around that everyone's got.
Yeah,
hilarious.
I still have a couple of the fakes actually. I've got like an Arcanine that is like. Do you remember those gold border stickers that always went around when they're still around now, but like people thought they were proper Pokemon cards, but they're just stickers with like a gold border on them.
Yeah.
The cards from the box I bought were just them, but like in card form, and it was very funny. I've got like a surfing Pikachu that's like fully blinged out.
Man.
I am actually, speaking of like cards that are old and blinged out, I actually got a notification now the last card I need from Celebrations has been shipped.
Wait, what was that card that you needed?
It was Blastoise, which is interesting because I seem to have packed. So I packed Charizard twice, and Umbreon, and I didn't pack Blastoise. I didn't pack Imposter Professor Oak one time.
Oh, come on!
And it's like
I've got that about 5-6 times and still haven't pulled a Charizard.
I had to buy it.
You gave one to me, thanks.
Yeah, no, I was super lucky. I've only opened about 50 or 60 packs, and I've managed to trade for the rest.
I think everyone's. It's such. I think you've said this as well before on another podcast. Sorry, but it's such. Well, I was gonna say an achievable master set in terms of size, and like it's the first time I've been like, oh, that's an achievable, relatively short-term collection goal that you could go for, and it kind of, I think, reignited my desire for like set-based collecting. I kind of like gone off, like the sets have been getting a bit, in my opinion, a bit big, a bit ridiculous. It was actually like, okay, no, this is fair enough. But it's interesting to see everyone chasing. They've got a similar mentality, chasing the same like 3 or 4 cards.
Yeah, well, if you disregard the promos, it's actually really achievable. I mean, if we don't talk about the UPC when it comes to master sets, because if a true master set has all the promos in theory, but I'm not paying £200 for some gold cards that look like they've been run over by a bus.
Yeah, I know.
So, but yeah, no, I said on the, I think it was the same podcast probably, but I was like, I would really enjoy the fact that people have been trading for stuff, because usually it's just like you either sell it on eBay or you just don't care and trade it in for bulk. And like when I made my video saying that sets become too big, which was actually before, I think that was for Evolving Skies, and then Fusion Strike was even bigger.
Yeah, that's ridiculous, Fusion Strike.
But like what like prompted me to make that is the realization that sets are basically now like 7 or 8 chase cards and everything else has no value, which is why like I really like so much that you both love common cards, because it's like common cards are like completely forgotten. And
not on our pages, hey Charlotte.
Yeah.
No, common cards.
No, the common card love. Yeah, there's definitely been. It does. You do get that feeling sometimes, and like chase cards, amazing pulls, like 100% have their place. They do, but I think sometimes you can end up falling into a bit of a negative feeling about that, because you're feeling like, you know, you can scroll through your feed and be like, oh, people are pulling fire all the time, like I need to be spending more money on this, that and the other, keep up. And it's like, actually let's balance the scale a bit, or try and give a alternative way of kind of revisiting your collection, because when most of us started when we were kids, like we enjoyed, I think personally, all aspects of the collecting, you know, big cards and regular. Everyone had their favorites, even if they weren't shiny.
I think what also helped for me was like the fact that most V cards now are just all like CGI art, whereas like the commons, you can tell that someone has really taken like a lot of time drawing this, and it's for like 90% of people just completely like disregarded in the bulk pile.
Definitely.
Like it's
it's so interesting.
I went to a store recently, just being able to look through like boxes of like bulk, but to me it was bulk that I hadn't seen in forever. So I was like, oh, this card's nice, and this will be a great common card for this collection and this collection I'm doing. Like it was just you just forget about the common cards. Like the guy in the shop was just so, I think he couldn't believe that I was more interested in looking through the common cards bulk rather than all of his fancy cards that are in the cabinet. I think he was a little bit shocked by that. But I convinced him, and he understood what I was doing, so it was fine. But it is I think it's a hobby that it is all, majority of it is all about the giant pools.
Yeah, for sure. But I think like the common art has more treats. Like when you look through like whatever card, that Quillfish card I used in PokéPics this week, I must have looked at that card so many times, but hadn't clocked like all the other Pokemon that were in the background, or like the storytelling or any of that. And I feel like you don't get so much of that in the big hitters. Like sometimes you get like the triptych of cards, or even with those promos, you know the ones I mean, with the starters that are eating berries.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like, I love that story time and having all different kinds of Pokemon feature in the same card.
I think that's why all arts are so great. Is like it adds
That's
like
exactly what
character.
I was going to say. Yeah.
Especially like the Pokemon that you wouldn't expect to like really like. Like the what is my favorite one is the Golurk V all art, where it's like the lumberjack Golurk.
Mm-hmm.
It's like that's a Pokemon that I've not really thought much about, and then they released this like alt art card, and I'm like, yeah, I really like that, regardless of what Pokemon it is.
I think it's because it's the storytelling, isn't it? The alternate arts tell a story like the common cards would, because they've got more chance to be creative, to create an amazing image, a piece of work, to tell a story. Whereas you're right, the V cards or even the normal full arts, it's just the Pokemon with a super crazy coloured background to it, and that's it. That's why I think the alt arts, obviously because of the value, but also they're just so interesting, and it's just storytelling. Exactly. That's why common cards are great, because you can just see someone's artwork just there. It's just amazing.
Yeah, they're really charming. And I think that the thing you're saying about like Golug not being a Pokemon that you normally look at, I think some of the VMAX Climax like character cards have done that for me. Like with like Phalanx and like Octillery, and there's quite a few in there that a Pokemon I wouldn't give a second look at normally, but they've kind of given them a personality and a life, which you forget sometimes, because I'm like, Pokemon being like anime based, like there is a lot of story behind those characters when you watch that as a kid, whereas some of the newer ones that I haven't watched so much of, I wonder if I don't adore those Pokemon in the same way because I haven't like consumed any content of like their personalities.
Yeah, I agree with that. That's definitely true.
I've actually a lot of the, I think it's Diamond and Pearl and Black and White are on iPlayer. So like all of the episodes and the movies are on there as well. So I've been watching it recently with my girlfriend, and like we watched the Gen 4 Diamond and Pearl movies, and like they're cool. They make you like Giratina a lot more. And it's got like in the seasons like that, you have episodes like there's an episode that focuses like almost entirely on a Golurk, and then there's episodes where they focus on like just Pokemon that you just, like you said, aren't appreciated as much because people who watch them don't tend to watch Pokemon after they grow up to a certain age.
I need to get back to it. I need some short episodes to watch at lunchtime. I am.
The Pokemon web series they have on YouTube are like really good. So they have is it Generations? I think it's actually called Generations, but like they have like 15-minute episodes, and they're like summaries of entire story arcs from the anime, and they're really cool.
Oh.
Yeah, I'll have to check that out. That sounds
There
cool.
you go. There's your lunchtime viewing now, Charlotte.
Yeah, sorted.
There's also Pokemon Journeys as well. That's a good one.
Yes, I've seen that advertised a few times, and I've seen trailers for it. That does look really good.
Pokemon Journeys is more like traditional anime though, but they're not confined to one region, so they just like go between all of the regions every episode. So like, it's loosely based on the like Galar main story where Ash wants to essentially become the best trainer in the Galar region and challenge Leon and beat him. But also they like, they might just go to like Sinnoh to do something, or they might go to Johto for like a contest or something, and it's just like it keeps it a bit more fresh.
Oh, that's fab. That sounds really good.
But, I'm a big fan of that. I very much enjoyed it. So I would be remiss if I didn't ask about PokéPicsWithPokéPals, which is your both of your things. So like, how did you come up with it? How did you kind of think like this is a thing that Instagram needs, because it is a thing Instagram needs?
I'll let you start, Nick.
Oh, let me take the floor. So basically, back when I first started Instagram, well, my Pokemon Instagram, I really enjoyed watching other people do lives, and I really didn't have the confidence to do a pack opening on Instagram. It seems crazy now thinking about it. And then me and Charlotte, we both bought an ETB, didn't we? What was it, Battle Styles? And we said,
Yeah.
let's do a live together. And I remember saying to you, even if no one turns up, it's just like we're on the phone opening some cards together. And that happened, didn't it? And then we thought, oh, we enjoyed this. We'll do it again next week or the week after, whenever it was. But we're only, we don't have endless amounts of money like lots of other content creators, which are very lucky to have that. But we only would open 4 packs each, wouldn't we? And we said, well, we really like being on live, but we need to make it a bit longer. So I said to her, oh, why don't we bring some cards, like set some little challenges and bring some cards to live and talk about it. So I did the first week, just thought of some random categories, and
let's do a hashtag.
Yeah, and that's where it took over, didn't it, Charlotte? So
yeah, definitely. And I think I was apprehensive about live stuff too, but weirdly, I feel like the pandemic has normalized like videoing being kind of a regular thing, because it went from being like something I was worried about to feeling like I was just on FaceTime or something with you, which is how I would have had to communicate with you anyway, like distance included. So yeah, but no, it's just kind of snowballed from there. And what are we on this week? We're week 27.
Yeah. And I think the only reason it's done so well is obviously because we enjoy doing it, one, but also like at the beginning there was just so much support from people, from accounts and friends that were joining in, were promoting it, were sharing it, and are still doing that. And it's just really nice to know that people enjoy looking at their cards and their binders. And the whole purpose of PokéPics with PokéPals is to be grateful for the cards you do have, rather than being stressed out and worried about the cards you don't have, because all of us can fall into that trap of wishing we had certain cards and why don't we pull certain cards and things like that. And it's just good to be appreciative of what you have, really.
Yeah, definitely agree.
Yeah, I think that's why it's so good as well, because all of the categories you choose are never like, they're never anything like too specific. So like it always like leaves it up to people's discretion. And I think that's because that's why it works, is because they're all so diverse. Like I've never seen anyone really share the same card very often.
No, the only time I've noticed in the past week when I did cat, the long cat Meowth came out a lot. And I love that card, so I have 0 complaints.
See, that's a card I own that I'd forgotten that I owned.
Yeah, exactly. I think that's what people kind of like love. It gives people a reason to look through their binders, right? Because it's like, oh, you could sit there on a Sunday afternoon and do that if you want, but you might do something else. Whereas at least if you've got someone telling you to do it with intent and purpose for a reason, I think it's easier. But also in a time where like most people in the community are trying to create content, it's like one time a week that you can have a prompt. So you'll have at least, one post that you can prepare without having to bang your head against a wall, thinking about what people want to see. Like we'll just give you a little helping hand once a week with an idea of something that you can post.
Definitely. And I think going back to the categories being not too specific, I think that's really important, because I'm always wary of, someone might not have certain cards. So you need to really think about the way you word the categories, so that they are so accessible for everybody, and are so broad.
Yeah. It's been great in like, I noticed that a lot of people collect in multiple ways. Like you and I both have like side collections of specific Pokemon or specific artists or things like that. And it's a really nice way of seeing a stream of cards that aren't necessarily recent sets. So more often than not, like I'll see someone's PokéPics post on the hashtag and I'll be like, oh, that's adorable, and I'll go and look up that card to buy on eBay or something, but I never would have maybe organically come across that otherwise, which is another fun aspect of it, I think.
I think that's the thing about Pokemon, really. It's like there are physically just too many cards for you to know all of them exist. Like there, not a day goes by when I don't see a card on my feed that I'm like, I just didn't know that existed.
And that's how fun it is. That's what it should be, shouldn't it? It should be continuously discovering new cards and Pokemon. It should be like that, shouldn't it? It should be exciting.
Yeah, definitely. But the new thing we did this week was we've started to invite people to join us because, as Nicola was saying, there's been like a group of people that have been doing it a lot. So I was like, oh, come and join in on the action a bit more directly, and come and join the live open packs with us, share the categories, but also come up with a category yourself. So we had our first trial one with Amy this week, and yeah, it popped off. Like, I'm really impressed about how engaged the community is with live content. Like, the engagement in the chat and afterwards, like when you're live streaming, is just awesome.
I've noticed that because like I sometimes, well, last week I just opened a box of VMAX Climax and some basketball stuff. Like didn't promote it. Literally just put a thing on my story being like, I'm just gonna open this in like 5 minutes. Like, come on by. And I had like about 7 or 8 people there just chatting, watching me open stuff, and they were just like, I have no idea what the basketball stuff is, but it's cool just to see something opened, and it's just nice. It's just nice to have a chat.
But that's it. I think I've realised, like, I really love watching people like undo packs, like open packs, and it is a really enjoyable experience. And if you might not be able to afford packs this week, you can watch your friends or other people open cards, and it is fun. It is enjoyable. That content is really enjoyed by lots and lots of people.
Definitely. And it's something I feel like with Instagram lives, they're very casual in the way that you can just drop in, what's going on, when people are opening packs. You can ask questions, like it's immersive. Like, I think, when you're joining something late, like, oh, have you pulled anything awesome? And like people will show you, and you can just drop in and out quite easily. Not like YouTube, I think, where it's a bit more structured and there's a bit more story, and there's not that back and forth. It's just, okay, you can comment saying you enjoyed such a thing, but there's nothing ever coming back, really.
Yeah, I think people like the more just kind of like organic grassroots content that like lives provide. It's why people prefer watching Twitch streamers over like YouTubers some of the time, because you feel like you get to not necessarily know the person better, but also like just know what they're like for a longer period of time. Because like I can make a 5-minute YouTube video and just be anyone I want. Whereas if I'm doing an hour live stream, like, unless I'm the best actor in the world, eventually I'll just slip into just being me.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's so true. Yeah.
It's like when you watch PokéRev videos, for example, and PokéRev live streams, they are remarkably different. They used to be a lot more different, which was quite funny. Like, his videos used to be very very energetic, and then in the live streams he was a lot more like chilled out. There's a lot more crossover now than there used to be, but like it's just a lot more relaxed. So sometimes YouTube gets a bit much for me, especially like PokéTube content. It's all very like exciting, and like there's lots of editing, and it's very like visually stimulating. And sometimes I just like to literally just sit there and watch someone with like, just their iPhone or whatever, just recording themselves opening some packs. It's nice.
Yeah, definitely. And also I think with YouTube you have with content that goes into post-production, it does have to be clickbaity to get views. Like, I think you said this on a different thing. Like, people need to be opening either old stuff, high volume stuff, or like expensive stuff, basically, to get those clicks. Whereas, like you're saying, the kind of grassroots Instagram stuff is like, I'm just invested in my internet mate pulling what they care about in however many packs that is.
It's crazy when you go back to like watch old sort of like 2016 and before YouTube videos. So have you ever heard of Primetime Pokemon? So he's
Yeah,
like,
I think
I'm not very good at YouTube.
he's like a real OG of like the PokéTuber like scene. But he used to make videos where he would be like, "This tin came out this week. I'm going to open the tin. It's a 4-minute video, and that's it." And he would upload maybe 6 or 7 videos a week sometimes, depending on what came out. And they'd literally be like a 4-minute video, and he'd just be like, "Oh, here's the tin, here's the promo, here's the packs. Open them," and then just be like, "Thanks for watching," and that was it.
That was it. Yeah,
And
didn't need any fancy, crazy shouting and
yeah.
whoa.
And like you watch the videos now, and you're like, how did we get from this to like super highly edited, like thousands of jump cuts per pack kind of like content?
Yeah, and people screaming at the cameras and screeching and shouting and
Primetime Pokemon is he's the one of like the originals, but his intro is so funny because it's the same every single time. And it's like, I know most content creators have like an intro that they do every time, but it sounds exactly the same every single time, and it's really funny. because his videos are so short, you can hear it like 6 or 7 times an hour if you're watching like his videos on the autoplay. So yeah, it's actually, he had to like stop making content because he couldn't afford it, which goes back to like the point of like, you know, it's not always about how much money you're spending, but when it comes to YouTube, it kind of is.
Yeah.
And so he basically took like 3 or 4 months off and was like, I can't do it anymore. It's not financially viable. And then he came back. He came back because enough people donated to his Patreon that he could do it full time or like part time, which was quite cute. But so yeah, he's back now, and he does like live streams and stuff. So yeah, if you ever want very wholesome Pokemon content, check out him, because I think he opens cards with I think it's his wife, maybe it's his partner, but yeah, they open cards together. It's very cute.
I think that is the females. Yeah, yeah, we love the females in the community. But I do think that is the danger of like Instagram and any content creating, is like you shouldn't have that pressure to keep up. Like if you can't afford it, you can't afford it. Like I see lots of people continuously buying product or saying they're buying product because they want to open and do have content for you guys. They'll say like to the people who follow them, but it's not about that. That's why, again, going back to PokéPics, let's just share the cards we have. Like,
yeah, there is other content.
I just hate the thought of people thinking they have to put themselves into debt to make content when it's not necessarily their full-time job. Like, it's just crazy to me.
Yeah. I definitely get more engagement though when I'm sharing like commons or older cards like that are just more like visually interesting. People are like you're saying, I've never seen that before. Where did you get that? What set is that? Whereas like when you're posting, I kind of get a bit of set fatigue sometimes where you're constantly seeing the pulls from the set that's coming out, and it's like, okay, like that's nice and that's cool, but it's nice to have a bit of variety, I think.
Yeah, you can tell when a new set comes out because like you'll see the chase card about 6 or 7 times a day for about a week,
exactly.
and then you'll never see it again.
Yeah, right.
It's like when Evolving Skies came out, I must have seen the Umbreon VMAX about 25 times on release day or the day before, and then I've not seen it since, really. I think I've seen it like twice in the last week, and it's usually people who've got it either graded or they are just posting it alongside the EV boxes that came out this week.
Yeah. I wonder if we'll have like if we'll relive hits based on when people's PSA subs return. Do you know what I mean? Like a year later or like however long, we'll just have the revival of all the older hits that people got and sent off.
That happened with my PSA return was just full of Darkness Ablaze stuff.
Yeah.
So I was like, oh, it's been 15 months since Darkness Ablaze came out. That's
nice. Yeah, you can count it back from that. Yeah.
To be fair, like that's why I started this podcast. Just because like I wanted to do some content, but I couldn't afford to open like packs all the time. And like you said, like I kind of got like pack fatigue, whereas just like I was opening not like stupid amounts of product, but I was opening so much, and just like if I don't pack anything good, I was just like, oh, it was a bit of a waste of money. Whereas like now I open stuff like, you know, more few and far between, so I can actually enjoy it. It's like if I opened VMAX Climax back then, I probably would have been like, oh, I didn't pack a card worth more than like £30. It was what a waste of time. Whereas like last week I opened it, and it's just fun to do. Like it did help that I packed the only card I really wanted from the whole set, which was the Hop and Zacian V card.
Oh, lovely.
And it's like I wanted that and the Kingdra, and I was gifted the Kingdra from someone.
That's amazing.
Because I kind of started to collect Kingdras as well.
Noted.
But yeah, so I've kind of, well, I dived in sort of head first because I got the Crystal Kingdra, which was terrifying. It's like my biggest single purchase I've ever made Pokemon wise. I bought it from a friend, and he let me pay for it like over the course of like a couple of months, which was good because it coincided with my PSA return. So I basically like put down a deposit and then paid for the rest of it with the other stuff that I got back. But yeah, like spending, well, it cost me £600, which like is just a worrying amount of money to spend on anything, let alone shiny cardboard. But
that's how they get you though, shiny cardboard.
Because I'm sorry, carry on.
I just say I'm a big proponent of being like, I'm fully transparent with how much I pay for stuff. Because I can't just spend £600 on a slab every like 2 weeks. It's like that's my like biggest purchase I think I've ever, well, probably will be the biggest one I'll ever make. But it's just yeah. I played the long game with
I think
PSA.
Transparency is so important, and also just like you saying, like framing it like that, like this is like a holy grail card for me. Like this is a stretch goal. This is something that has been on my mind for a while. I think I was thinking about that earlier because I was talking about having all the on the ball cards and seeing like the Pikachus come on the market. It's like, oh boy, that's a long way away for me.
The Pikachu on the ball is actually the closest thing we currently have to a numbered card because we know there's 8,000 of them.
Yeah, that's so true.
So like what will happen is similar to how it happens in sports. It's like the market will just set itself based around how many there are and like how easy it is to grade.
Yeah.
So that'll be interesting to see. But like I think sometimes it's hard to like come across it's hard to be transparent without also sounding like you're just trying to flex on people.
Yeah,
definitely.
That fine line, 100%. But I'm a firm believer. If you've worked really hard for something, you've saved your money, and that's your goal card, then you should buy it. You should be happy with your purchase. It's to be celebrated, isn't it?
Definitely. I think, we talked about this a bit yesterday, but I think there'll always be people with negative opinions about stuff like that. But at the end of the day, like you bought a great thing that you wanted that, was within your means at the time after saving. So like, good for you. Like no one would say that about a pair of shoes. No one would say that about a handbag, right? Like, but you do you.
Well,
I'd rather spend it.
Yeah, I was watching a live stream the other day, and it was someone basically going through their inventory for like what they've got for sale and like pricing it all on a live stream. And one of the comments that someone left was like, "Oh, there's no need to make this public knowledge. This should like be private." And I was just like, "Why?" Like, one, it's his inventory, so therefore it's public anyway. But two, just people seem to want openness up to a point. And then once it seems like you're like flexing what you've got, people are just very dismissive and like, no, I don't want to know anymore. And that's why I think a lot of people don't share, like, don't want to say how much they pay for stuff. I think it's also a security thing. Like a lot of people have massive collections and don't really have enough security to keep it safe. So
that's true.
They don't want to share like, they don't want to share their address or their name or whatever. Like I know people who exclusively do deals in person. They won't do deals through eBay, or they won't have things posted to them. It's like they only want to meet physically with a person or like a middleman.
Completely fair.
which is
I think transparency is also important for like other products. So like not like slabs and individual cards, but like it helps like with like the scalping thing. It's like actually I paid retail for this, that, and the other, because I think sometimes like people assume that everyone's paying scalper prices for stuff because that's all that's available when things are short, and it's like actually I don't think everyone is. And if you just like, it's been proven time and time again that it all kind of comes out in the wash, right? And eventually, like with the whole Shining Fates thing, like there'll be stuff, it'll be fine, like there's no need.
Just patience, isn't it? But then that again is the problem with content creating, isn't it? It's wanting to be the first person to post that card or to open those packs to get those views.
So true.
But you do have to just wait and be patient, and sometimes you can be lucky. You could I've heard people walk into a Waterstones and find those evolution boxes and they've bought them. It's just about luck, and it's also just about being patient. It's not about paying those ridiculous prices just to be the first person to post it, because it's not all about that.
Yeah, I think it's just FOMO that gets people, isn't it? It's like the fear of missing out. Generally, if you really, really want something, you'll find a way to get it. Whether that be, you just wait for it to come out again, or you save up your money and you buy it on the secondary market or something. There are very few things that in my collecting journey that I've been like, I've missed out on that, and I'm like genuinely upset that I've missed out in the long run. In the short term, there's things where I've just been like, oh, that sucks that I couldn't get that, or whatever. So like with Shining Fates when it first came out, like I couldn't order the tins. I could only get one of them, and I was like, oh, that's I felt really bad about it at the time. And then in the long run, they were quite easy to get, and even if they weren't, I could have found something as an alternative that was either like cheaper or more available that I wanted instead. So there's just been very few things that I've genuinely regretted not getting.
The thing I'm still thinking about is the Marnie box, the like milk carton one.
Oh yeah.
I'm like, I'd like one of those.
They actually are about still.
Yeah, I need to get on it.
The good thing about them though is actually lower in price than they were because remember when they first came out, they like massively spiked.
Oh, it was ridiculous, wasn't it? That was one of the products that I was like, this is ridiculous.
But they're back down to sort of like £50-60 now, which is, not cheap for what it is, but considering the promos you get, it could be a lot worse. A lot of people
I feel very lucky that my pre-order on Smiths actually went through, because I thought it wasn't going to. So I did get one of those. I feel very lucky.
A lot of people got absolutely rinsed when it came out because they invested so much in the Japanese one, thinking it wouldn't come out, and then it came out in English.
They were so expensive. Well, they are so expensive, those Japanese ones, aren't they? I remember being at Comic-Con and I saw the Marnie one and I was like, what? Is that right? Like, yeah, crazy.
It was like £500 when it came out, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was really expensive.
To be fair, with we have the Gala Pals from VMAX Climax is kind of similar, isn't it? It's like that's really expensive. And there's another one as well. I think is it Gloria?
Yeah, Gloria.
So really expensive.
Yeah. That Gala Pals card is just perfection, though. That's a card that I would want anyway in my collection, but yeah, that's not going to happen.
Yeah, there's always one or two cards though that just like, I mean, at least it's popular for a reason. There are some cards where I'm just like, why is this worth so much? For me,
do you have an example of a card? Because I'd be interested.
The Champion's Path Rainbow Charizard, I didn't get why it was so expensive. Like, I understood why it was expensive, but I was just like, it shouldn't be as much as it is because it's not that nice, and it's from a set that there was in the end quite a lot of, and that it's kind of been proven right by the fact that the price is now a third of what it was when it was released.
Yeah, I actually went into a store recently and they had absolutely loads of Champion's Path boxes, the ones, the gym leader ones with the pins.
Yeah.
I want to say they had about 20, 25, 30 boxes on the shelves. And I was like, where has all this come from? Is this just been maybe sitting in a box somewhere in the back, and they've decided to put it out? But I just think that's just crazy. Where's all this product when everyone was going absolutely insane for it? Like, madness.
I was lucky enough to pull the Rainbow Charizard when it was like expensive. And like you were saying earlier, with like certain cards, they're just like too much and you have to sell them. That was one of those cards.
Yeah. You can't sit knowing you have it. Like,
yeah. As soon as I pulled it, 5 minutes later it was on eBay.
Yeah. I think there is a point, particularly with like some people, like that would be, they'd never sell a Zard in their life. But yeah, for me, I could sell a Zard if I had one.
I'm not really fussed about Charizard. Like I know a lot of people just like hate it, feel like on principle. But I'm not fussed either way. Like I'm not a fan really, and I don't really mind it. Like I prefer Blastoise anyway.
I think this is a huge topic that's been going around this week with obviously the new set coming out. But I think Charizard isn't necessarily a Pokemon that I'm absolutely in love with, but I understand why so many people are, and why it's such a recognizable Pokemon for the franchise. And I understand the hype. I don't buy into it, but I understand why people are so passionate about it.
Yeah, like there's no way around it. Charizard is super cool. It's literally a dragon. But like, I think it's partly I don't really have the nostalgia of collecting because I didn't collect cards when I was a kid. Like, I started collecting when I was sort of like 17 or 18. So I don't have that like Gen 1 nostalgia that a lot of people have. But also like, it's oversaturation. Well, like, there's so many Charizards now that if I like tried to get into collecting them, it would just be too late.
Yeah, I find the controversial. I find the art on Charizard. I think Amy said this as well. Like, all very similar. Like, it's all very similar. Like grand, aggressive-looking pose. Whereas, like people that are collecting like Pikachu's, right? Like, there are so many different poses, looks, chunky, skinny, like all of the stuff. Whereas with Zards, I'm like, it seems quite one note for me.
That's why I like the
Apart
VMAX
from
Climax
the VMAX Climax one, yeah, I was gonna say that's absolutely perfect. That card.
And that's a Zard I'd love to have.
And that one is about £15. So it's like,
yeah,
you can either have the one with the one that's got lots of character, or you can have the Burning Shadows one that's just like stock photo of Charizard, but it's so expensive, the rainbow one.
I will say though that alternative art Charizard with the Venusaur, I want it just for the Venusaur because Bulbasaur is my OG, and that Venusaur just looks so amazing. But I just think it's ridiculous that I want a card because of the other Pokemon in the card rather than the main Pokemon. But it's because it's that storytelling. That's why,
If you there was a guy who was a Mew collector, and his aim was to collect every Mew card, but also every card that Mew's on. And there is Mew's shadow on the illustrated Pikachu.
Oh
no!
So he was just like, "Oh well, I'll never finish," because that card is like 500 grand. Or
I'm
whatever.
Slowly trying to do that now because I have a Routes collection and there's not many Routes cards. But then Nicola, you gifted me like a Wally card, like which is Wally and Routes together. But it's not as easy to look up all cards of Pokemon's featured in. The same way with like collecting rainbows. It's definitely a community effort of like seeing them, telling everyone that does the same thing, or seeing them in your feed and stuff like that. I kind of enjoy that extra level of challenge in a way.
I have noticed now, since my followers have been going up, the amount of DMs I get about how I found this card with a rainbow in, and I found this card, and I'm just so appreciative because I'm like, wow, a lot of the time I'm like, yep, oh, I do have that one, but thank you so much. But quite a lot recently, I've been like, wow, no, I don't have that one. Fab, that's another one for the list. Thank you so much. Like, I just love that. I love the community so much, but things like that, it's just so
crowdsourcing.
Yeah.
We need to make a database of stuff like that. Like all the Pokemon cards with like a moon in the background, and all the ones with like water in it.
It would be so much easier to find cards. It's like someone found me a Snubble, this tiny little Snubble. I think it's in Florgus, or like I can't remember, like one of the funny little flower Pokemon. He's just this tiny little Snubble, and I was like, oh my gosh, I would have never, like, if you type Snubble in, that card's not going to come up, you know. So I love that.
Yeah, again, goes back to the whole thing of just you find cards that you didn't know existed every day, and that's like the best thing about collecting anything, really.
Yeah, definitely. And I think, like, quite handily, like with Pokemon, like the availability of that stuff, like more often than not, you can go onto eBay or whatever and find a version of what you want, which is handy.
Yeah, I recently, so my like end goal for collecting has always been to have like a PSA 10 first edition Growlithe. They are very expensive, so that's why it's like my proper end goal. But I recently bought a Shadowless one.
Yeah.
In a 10, which is like my Christmas present to myself.
Amazing.
And I never want the first edition one now because the Shadowless one looks so much nicer. and it's about a tenth of the price as well. So like,
brilliant.
Made my decision a lot easier.
It's not about the price
now.
Yeah, that's it.
Job done.
But yeah, but if I couldn't get that one, then there's always the base one, and if I couldn't get that one, there's always the Evolutions one. So there's always an option. Plus the best Growlithe art is the it's either the EX, I can't remember what it is now. Anyway, then the EX one was really nice, or the Radiant Collection one from Legendary Treasures, that one's nice too.
I'm googling it. The EX one, is it the one with the teacups?
No, it's the one with two. The one with two of them.
Oh,
it's a reverse.
Oh yeah. They're like jumping.
Yeah, so I got I bought the reverse one for a while ago, and that's like one of my favorites. But the Radiant Collection one's really nice too.
That is really cute, actually. Oh, yeah, so cute. Oh, my eBay recommendations are full of snubbles, Nicola, from buying your Christmas present.
Well, if you find any new ones, let me know.
I will. And Shrek TCG, actually.
Oh my gosh.
Is there a favourite snubble of all the ones you've got? Or a favourite routes for that? Wow.
I like the Routes and Wally one that you got me. No.
That was the Radiant Collection, I think, wasn't it?
Yeah.
One. Gosh, it's so difficult because I just love all my cards, but I just think probably the full art trainer from the Detective Pikachu Japanese set with Snubble. That card is just so perfect, and I ended up buying a couple of packs for my partner for his stocking so many years ago at Comic-Con, and I just happened to pull that card, and he's only recently given it to me, so it took many years to finally get it in my collection. So probably that one, because I had to just keep nagging him for it.
We need to
That's so funny.
We need to start a petition to bring back the Radiant Collection.
Oh, can you imagine a newer version just with some of the it would just be beautiful. Just we always moan about the hollows, don't we? Like the reverse hollows, they need a bit more flair. Like something like that would just be so much fun.
Yeah, even opening the Sun and Moon packs the other day, I was like, this reverse seems way more exciting than the one we have now.
Yeah, the one now is a little bit boring. The worst one was Gen 4, when it was just flat reverse hollow. Because we went from like the EX era being like, the little logo printed, and like some of the reverse hollows were like Unseen Forces has the best one. It's got like reflective like Pokeballs in it.
Oh my gosh.
And then we went to Gen 4 and it's just flat, shiny, and it's just really boring.
Yeah, so the worst ones are in this in like recent sets are the dark ones, because they don't even look hollow to me when I'm looking at them. Like they don't have that same like iridescent sheen. I just can't ever tell.
They are awful. They're really bad. I don't really understand whose idea that was, but yeah, they're not very good.
The regular hollows, like, to be fair, aren't great either.
Just about to go there too. Yeah, like the McDonald's ones were nice, and the promo. I like the promo ones most of the time. But yeah, I've got some like older cards where the hollow is the type symbols and stuff like that. Just so cool.
Why did someone at Pokemon was like, oh, you know what people hate? Swirls. Let's get rid of those.
It's just crazy to think that the cards you would, when I was a kid, that you wanted were the hollow cards. They were your big hitters, and now they've just turned the hollows into, because I see so many people go, oh, it's just a hollow, but technically a hollow is a hit. It is a hit, but it's because it's not as, there's no swirls, there's no glitter, there's no pattern, there's nothing. I can see why people end up going, oh no, it's not, but it is.
I've got a hollow binder, so I to be fair, I've got some of the hollows I've got it goes from like Gen 5 forward, because I recently, well, it was a bit before Christmas, decided that I never look at my binders as much as I want to, so I put all of my vintage cards in semi-rigids, and they're like in a box, so now I can just like flick through them.
Nice.
And it's also much easier for content purposes as well. I recently ordered a load of like cheap-ish, like I think the most I spent on a single card was like £7 from like EX era reverses and hollows from Matt Callie's website, and like there's some absolute bangers coming, but they're all
excited.
Like some of them I would recommend checking out the website, because like some of the cards on there are like so cheap, especially if you're not too fussed about condition. But all the cards I got were near mint, and some of them were like £2, and they're reverses from
really cool,
from the EX era, from packs that cost like £300 each.
Wow.
Yeah. Sorry if
I need to get back in.
Sorry if I've made you spend lots of money.
Stuff like that. Yeah. Easily done. I love getting post that's not bills. Like, when you're ordering singles and they're like every other day, like something's
it's so
just dropping.
Fun. Yeah, little singles in the post are the best.
Yeah.
I got my celebration singles today. Like all of the rest of the ones I needed, and it's very nice.
Oh.
Yeah. How are you orchestrating your trading? Just through like Instagram and story or Discord? I need to find Pokemon Discord.
Feel free to join the Victory Road one.
I will.
We're all very friendly. I'll send you a link up.
Thank you.
Equally, anyone listening, feel free to join it. It's literally, it was called Victory Road. It's now called the EX Karim Appreciation Society, which has a long story behind it. But equally, everyone should go follow Karim as well, because he's the nicest man alive. Basically the reason it's called that is that he would, whenever anything was on sale, like Pokemon wise or otherwise, that he knew people wanted, he would go out of his way to try and find it.
Oh,
so he would always be
so lovely.
So he'd always be like, "Oh, Hidden Fates is on this website. Quick, go get it!" Or like
those people are doing God's work.
They're the pillars of the community. They are.
The crazy. Yeah. He was like, around Christmas, he was on PS5 watch. So like anytime he'd see like PS5s or Xboxes available, he'd be like, "They're up here, go!" And he managed to actually get like 3 or 4 people PS5s, which was pretty crazy.
That's a full-time job, surely. That is.
Yeah.
Trying to get games console. Oh my gosh.
Oh, crazy. Trust me, like at work, that was rough. Like they would come in and then they'd just go on order, and then they'd sell out within about 10 minutes.
Yeah. Oh god, I can't.
Yeah, I can't imagine dealing with that anymore. When I was a kid, I used to work in Woolworths, and trying to get games consoles for people was like the worst thing in the world. Especially when the Wii first came out, that was like utter hell. Every single day, trying to order them for people. People come in and be screaming at you. Like it's just, it's so stressful.
That's like the first thing, like the first console issue, like I remember, because my parents bought me and my brother one that Christmas, and it was from Germany, so we had to have like a European adapter in the wall to use it. So yeah, really hard to get hold of.
I remember the same. I think I got mine like a year after the original release.
Yeah.
So like, because I remember it came out like just before Christmas, then I got it the Christmas after, and even then it was like a real struggle to get them. But I suppose
Yeah.
the PS5, you've not been able to get one since like 2019.
Yeah, that's crazy, really. The amount of time you think people still who want them still haven't got them.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I've been lucky in that I've never had enough money to actually buy one, so it's never really been like a dilemma for me.
No, I don't know how Kit managed to get one, but he has one, and it made me laugh because his dad rang the other day, and he was like, "How's that Sony machine that you have?" I was like, "You mean the most sought after console, like ever?"
Yeah, my dad's got an Xbox and he plays it a lot, and he just plays like the campaigns of Call of Duty games over and over again. It's just very like, it's just easy. Every year you get in the new Call of Duty and he just plays it for about a year and then that's it.
Oh, I love that. I'm very like soft touch cozy gamer. Like I've always been a handheld Nintendo console person. And Animal Crossing and Pokemon games are probably like the be all and end all of my gaming career.
Have you played Stardew Valley?
No, but I've been recommended it several times and I feel like
Yeah.
I could really get on board.
It is
Yeah, you would like that,
it's the
Charlotte,
most serene experience you'll ever experience while gaming, because basically you're just a farmer. It's just honest work. And it works on like a day cycle, and up until you get quite far in the game, it's just very chill.
That's how I feel like. It's just very like Harvest Moon was always like that for me. That's just that really chill, relaxing little farmer life.
I think it's because like you have like the moderate pressure of the day and night cycle, but you just do as much as you want every day.
Yeah,
it's
nice.
just very nice. See,
oh wait, it's only £25 on Amazon for a Switch game.
Yeah, it came out a long time ago. I got it on PC, and it was it's great. I think I've got like hundreds of hours on it at this point.
I like those kind of games though. No pressure.
No pressure. Yeah, best type of game for me. Relaxed storytelling game is enough for me.
As I've got older, I can't. When I was younger, I used to play like Call of Duty Online and like competitive FIFA and that kind of stuff. I just can't do it anymore. My nerves can't handle it.
No, you want to relax when you come home from work and not get enraged.
Yeah.
Yeah, my old housemates used to make fun of me because I played like easy games, and I was like, no, I'm just relaxed. I'm not stressing out. I used to play I used to play a lot of Rock Band, which I miss. Because they haven't released one for the new generation. So I always said like if they release Rock Band 5 or 6 or whatever it is, I'd buy a new generation console to get it, and they just never did. So, which is sad. I didn't used to play guitar though. I used to just exclusively play drums. To the point where
cool though.
To the point where my drum set broke and I had to buy another one. So the drum set didn't break. The like bass pedal that you have for it broke, and I had to buy an entire new set of drums just for a new bass pedal, and it cost me like £100, and it was like the greatest decision I've ever made because it literally snapped because I played it too much. So I bought a new one, and then that one broke, so I had to duct tape it together.
Do you know what? It sounds like money well spent to me.
Yeah. I must have 2,000 hours on Rock Band, and it's just one of the greatest investments I think I've ever made. I used to play with my housemates, and we used to have a system where you could buy any song on the game that you wanted to, but we had like a little like ramekin dish, and you had to put like the money in there, and then at the end of the week I'd like collect the money. It's quite fun.
Yeah, I miss games like that. Although I like I was thinking about like Switch stuff. What's the game called? Like, is it Jackbox, where it's like I like games where you can just play with your friends as well when they come over, like good icebreakery stuff. I feel like Wii was very like that, and all of the like band hero DJ, like all that kind of stuff was like an era of games to play with your
Party
pals.
games,
Whereas,
wasn't it?
yeah,
Like come round and like chill out and party games, definitely.
Yeah, like you do your Wii bowling or whatever, or you just dance.
I mean,
now,
the Switch kind of does that, but like there's a lot of Switch games are very much like handheld. I mean, I've just danced on the Switch, and that's quite a lot of fun.
Oh yeah, maybe I should get that. I was cheeky actually, and I just bought an OLED, so I was using my other half Switch because he'd bought it like when it came out, done what he wanted to do with it, and there hasn't really been a game that's piqued his interest for a while, so it kind of fell into my lap, and I've been playing it. But I play it handheld like almost constantly, so I bought an actual OLED for me to own, and I cannot tell you how surprised I am at the difference. Like, I just thought, oh, like, that's a nice welcome bonus. But like, I was doing the data transfer with literally like the two consoles side by side, and it was like, I don't know, like what I imagine putting glasses on is like for people with bad vision, or like standard definition versus HD. Like, it was crazy. And I was like, I think that's money well spent.
See, the same as with me. Like, there's no real game that's like piqued my interest because I didn't get the Diamond and Pearl remakes because I just was like, I'm not too fast. But then Platinum Arceus comes out in 2 weeks.
Yes.
Oh, so excited.
And yeah, it's going to be just the best.
Can't wait.
Definitely.
I'm the thing I'm most excited for is that they haven't really like given away too much yet.
No.
So there was like a gameplay trailer that was released, I think it was either yesterday or the day before.
Yeah.
And they explained like a few more bits, but like, yeah, it's still like quite just kind of up in the air how it actually works. Like they've shown like a couple of villages, they showed like a few game mechanics, and they've told you it's like pretty open world. But apart from that, there's not really been that much information. And I miss the old days where like you buy a game and just know nothing about it.
Mm-hmm.
Now it's just
like, I miss that a bit.
Now it's like you don't buy a game.
You have to try and buy a book to tell you like all the little secrets, or buy the like magazines that will tell you like where to go.
I've still got my Pokemon Emerald strategy guide at my parents' house.
Oh, I love it. Those strategy guides were so good. Like, just looking back, they were like one of the best things ever, with all the little tips and everything. It was just so good.
I used to when I was younger, I got sent to like a holiday club, like packed off with, not like in the daytime, with my Game Boy, but there was always a kid that had the strategy guide, so I'd never have to buy it. Like, they'd just be like, go here and here and here. I'm like,
Some of them are like, so I used to play a lot of Fallout New Vegas, and I still do, but I've completed the game in every possible configuration you can imagine. But I've got like a strategy guide for it, and it's like, it's a big book. It's about 200-300 pages long, and like the amount of care that's gone into like making it is just ridiculous. And it's like, I don't think they don't really make them anymore because everything's online now.
That's it. Yeah. Everyone's streaming it, so you don't need to try and work out what to do. Someone's already done it there and then in front of you.
Yeah, you just type it into YouTube and someone's made a video on it.
Yeah. That's most of my search history on the internet is like, what did I do today? Oh, the cave layout of the cave that I didn't have Flash to use in Brilliant Diamond. It's like, walk this many steps until you hit a wall, then turn left. And it was a really great
part of that, but it is good, but also it takes does it not take the like fun out of it a bit?
So I've been playing for a little while, so I had some fatigue of random Pokemon encounters. And talking about that, like Sword and Shield, I didn't realize how much of a quality of life improvement the way you engage with Pokemon in the wild was there until I started playing this game again. And you know, like once you're just trying to complete your Pokedex, like I'm on the last few Pokemon, I don't want to be pestered by a level 5 Zubat anymore. Like, it's lost its charm. I'm sorry.
Oh no, I can understand that. Like if you're at the end of your game, fair enough. But I know a lot of people at the beginning of their games will use everything, you know?
Yeah. No, normally I try and do like the main story piece, like without much support. And then when I'm trying to mop up later on, I'm like, oh, I missed that entire cave. Let's do that.
You know, you have like those core memories when you were a kid. Like one of my core memories is in Pokemon Emerald doing the Juford Cave without Flash. It's like I can still probably do it now.
I love that.
So good.
Yeah,
Good. Yeah, I love all the extra bits now where you can like change your clothes or change your hair and stuff in Pokemon. I'm like, oh, that looks like me throwing Pokeballs right there now.
Yeah, I invest. It's crazy how like much time you invest, like especially when you're younger, into a game that basically has no features other than the real game. It's like I've got like a save file on Pokemon Emerald. What I did that was like 400 hours. I have no idea what I was doing for like the last 325 hours of that game. Because feasibly, you could do everything in like 75 hours. So I was just running around,
like
just
thoroughly.
I was just like running around beating Pokemon for no reason.
I love that level of drive. I wished I had that motivation.
I wish I did still. I don't anymore. But like even in that game, like, the Battle Frontier is like real hard. But I guess to be fair, I don't think I even did the Battle Frontier. I think I just ignored it because I was like, it's too difficult.
Too much for me.
That is the one thing that the Pokemon games do offer, though. It's like you beat the game, and most people beat the game and then do a little bit of the post game, and then they just like throw the Battle Frontier at you, and it's like this is genuinely like you need great knowledge of Pokemon, an incredible team, good strategy, and also like knowledge of how you EV train everything and what the best moves are. It's like
yeah, you can't just go in there with your overpowered head of party Pokemon and brutally
you've actually got to think about
everyone.
what you're doing.
Yeah. Because I have found with Brilliant Diamond that like EXP share being standard meant that I had a Gyarados stupidly quickly, and then he just became like the best friend. Like it didn't even matter about type matching anymore. He was just like a one-hit wonder. And it kind of like I was like, I need to swap you out because this is losing kind of some of the point and fun and what I enjoy in the game. So you need to go to a box, sir.
when I used to Twitch stream before, I was too busy to do so. I did a speed run of Pokemon Emerald, but it was all dog Pokemon.
Brilliant.
And
wow,
there aren't that many, unfortunately. But as soon as I got Absol, my strategy was just use Swords Dance 3 times and then just like kill everything. To the point where the Elite Four became so little of a challenge once I'd like perfected this strategy that I just went through it in about 10 minutes.
Amazing.
And I basically reached a point where the other like 5 Pokemon on my team were just a buffer to like keep Absol alive.
Yeah.
love
like
those
you just swap them
doing
out.
That.
They just stand there while you revive in the background.
Yeah.
So my least favourite Pokemon is Mightyena, and it's purely because of how bad it was in that run. Like I think it must have, after about the 3rd gym, spent about 75% of the time like knocked out because it was just so bad. So yeah, that's why Mightyena is my least favourite Pokemon.
What a question! Your least favourite Pokemon. Loads of people ask me that, but I struggle with that. Really do struggle with that question.
I think there's 891 of them, right? It's like it's difficult to have a legitimate reason for why something's your least favourite. For a lot of people,
at least you have a reason.
Yeah, well, for a lot of people, it's like you can't name your least favourite because you just forget it exists.
Yes.
Like Oricorio.
You're so relevant to me.
like Oricorio is a great Pokemon, but I'm pretty sure that 90% of people listening to this will have forgotten they exist.
That's so true.
I had.
There's so many Pokemon like that, especially in the later generations, because like we were saying earlier, like when you don't watch the anime, you don't see them in that, and then when you play the game, they're just easily avoidable.
Mm.
Like Puke and
You don't have those memories, do you, or those connections with them? That's the thing.
Yeah, Pyukumuku is a good example as well.
Oh, I love that Pokemon.
To be fair, I suppose the ones that are really forgettable are the ones I can't remember.
Yeah.
If you just played the TCG, you'd forget that the Gen 4 baby Pokemon exist, like Bonsly, and like Happiny and stuff like that, because they've only got like 2 cards ever.
Yeah. Love them little cuties though.
We need to bring back baby Pokemon.
Oh, can you imagine?
Yes,
I
please.
was talking about this the other day. Imagine a full art, like another. I know we had the tag team one, but like a full art baby Pokemon or Togepi card. Like, how cool would that be? Like, all like pretty colors in the background.
Brilliant.
Yeah, someone asked me that on an Ask Me Anything, and I was like, if you had an alt art, what would it be? And I was like, the baby Pokemon playing board games together, just living their best lives, please.
It's really depressing to me that, like, obviously, Growlithe is my thing. Growlithe will never get an alt art, but Arcanine probably will.
Yes, that's how I feel about Snubble. Like, Snubble would never get one, but Gramble would or something. That could happen.
We need a shiny Snubble card just because it is literally the ugliest shiny in the world.
It's the most beautiful shiny. Come on. Beautiful.
Shiny clown Snubble. At least it's interesting though. There are lots of shinies that are just like shiny Garchomp is just the same. There is
there's so many.
Me.
But it's all to do with isn't it the pixels just changing slightly? I remember reading something about it, like in the old days that's what the shinies were, or something like that.
Well, I think in the old days they used to like physically have to assign a color, but now it's done like on an algorithm. That's why like certain Pokemon like Charizard changed shiny color after like Gen 2.
Yeah,
I miss old like silver Charizard, like the shining one. Now it does look cool in black, to be fair. So
yeah, it looks really cool actually. I'm having a look at what shinies I've got in Pokemon Go.
I used to be very much into like community days and stuff, and I just gave up after a while because all the people I used to play with, do raids with, just stopped playing.
Yeah. I think it's difficult to build up a community again as well. Like when that community used to always be out and every single community day or raid hour, and then when the people slowly disappear, it is hard bringing that back again.
Oh, the new loading screen's got Growlithe on it.
Yeah, I thought you would have seen that.
Oh, I didn't know that. This is how little I play it.
Welcome back.
Yeah, welcome back in.
To be one of the cards I recently bought. So there's like Bandai anime cards, and like they are stills from the anime, and I found one recently which is like Officer Jenny and Growlithe, and it's just like my favourite card. I need to get it graded
that's brilliant.
sometime. Again, another card I didn't know existed until I saw it on eBay, and then I had to own it.
That's it. The wonders of searching on eBay is you always find little gems.
Well, the thing with those cards is like they're really old. They're from like late 1990s, and you can get some of them for like super cheap, like less than a tenner, in decent condition as well.
Good.
Exactly, and they're that old, but
yeah,
you can get them for hardly anything.
The only unfortunate thing is you are quite limited to only Gen 1 because they made them to coincide with like the Japanese anime.
Gotcha.
So no Routes or Snubble, I'm afraid.
No. Alas. Although I think there are some movie cards, isn't there, with I need to look at them because I think I remember opening some when I was a kid, and there's a Snubble in the Pikachu's Vacation little short at the beginning of the Pokemon movie. I know there's some cards of that I need to try and find. I'm not sure who makes those or who made them, but I remember seeing some recently, and I was like, "Oh, I need to look for them."
I managed to log into Pokemon Go. It took me 4 attempts because the game just doesn't work on my phone.
This is why I stopped originally, because I started and then I think I I broke my phone or something, and I ended up with something that just didn't have the capacity for launching that game. And then I went quiet for ages, and then in lockdown I picked it up again because I was like going out for lots of walks and stuff, and I was like, oh, this is handy. A handy addition to those walks.
Yeah, I was like completely into, like really back into Pokemon Go a few months before, obviously, the first lockdown. Going to every raid evening, community days, everything. Like it was like just such a not like it was just part of my life. And then going into lockdown, it was really weird and sad, and I never really had any home spawns or anything. And I do think because I was constantly playing from home with incense, that's why I have spawn points now because of like it's all to do with like where people play, isn't it? That's where like the spawn points will be more, and I think that's why I think I get 5 Pokemon in my house now. When before I used to get none. So
you can also I can't remember what level it is, but once you reach a certain level, you can like recommend a spawn point, recommend a Pokestop.
Yes.
I think it's level like 38 or something.
It used to be 40, but then they lowered it. So
I'm level 38 apparently. I've forgotten that. I used to play this game a lot, but I just checked and I have 149 shiny Pokemon apparently.
Nice. Well, it's Com Day this weekend, so you know you can get some more shinies.
It is. The last thing I caught was the last thing I caught was Oshawott, and that tells you how often I play this game. Because that was community day about 3 or 4 months ago. I have to ask, how did you two meet? Did you just meet online and realise you lived near enough each other, or was it just like a...
It's the opposite.
It's absolutely the opposite. Yeah, I love this.
Yeah.
It's so fun.
Yeah, so and my first job when I was 16, we met and we became friends, and we just stayed friends, and actually I now live far away. Yeah, but we didn't know that each other, I mean, maybe even liked Pokemon until I saw you share your Pokemon Instagram on your personal, and then I was like, oh my gosh, hi. So yeah, we've known each other for we've been friends for 10 years in real life. I'll call it.
What is real life anymore?
Yeah,
that's true.
Exactly.
Everything just blurs together.
But I was kind of saying like the other day that I feel like for me, like PokéPicsWithPokéPals has continued for so long because we're now what I would consider to be like long distance friends. It's like my carved out time to hang out with Nicola anyway, because it does feel like it is our time, in addition to other people obviously being present. But I'm like, oh, I don't see much of you, so it's nice to have that date every week to do something that we like together.
Yeah, because it was funny when we got together for Go Fest, wasn't it? We obviously took pictures, and we did like film some pack openings, and like the amount of comments were like, "Oh my goodness, you've met for the first time! How amazing!" And we're like, "Oh no, we're already friends."
Yeah,
but
sorry. No, it was nice, but yeah. So yeah, the other way round, but it's nice now because then when we go and like we met Gary, like you came to visit me and we met Gary, like it's nice to have like an anchor point as someone you know, like personally, to then go and meet other Pokemon people with, because I find that a bit nerve-wracking. It's nice to have a friend.
To be fair, we did like a lot of people in our Discord did like a meet up last year for the it was Evolving Skies pre-release event.
Yeah,
it was down in London, and that was very much like it's very intense meeting like 19 people you've never actually met before in person at the same time. It was
that's so cool though.
It was a little overwhelming, but like it was nice at the same time. But
I'd like to organise something else for people, but I feel like people are really scattered around.
I know. I think myself and Pokegirl Rach are thinking about organising something for like MCM Comic Con, so it's something that people would be going to anyway. So we
Yeah.
might we're thinking about trying to organise like a little meetup like there, because people will be there anywhere. People would probably travel to London for that anyway, so it could be something that but yeah, we're in talks to organise that, so just be a bit of fun, really.
One.
Yeah. So we had, oh, sorry, Karen.
Potentially.
We had
Awesome.
we had the same thing, like, because obviously, you know, if you frame it around an event, it makes it just a bit more like structured than 20 people turning up in just a random location.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah, definitely.
But I met loads of people that, like, I met people I'd done I met John from Black Label Grading. He was there, and like people who had on the podcast, and people I like talked to like every day during lockdown and stuff.
I love that so much. Yeah.
And then like earlier today, I got a message from Josh PSA Pimp, who was on the last episode, and he was like, "Oh, I'm just going to be in Nottingham tomorrow. Do you want to just like hang out for a bit?" I was like, "Yeah." So we went to Trident Cards, bought some cards, and then we just hang out in town. And it was like, it's interesting because I'm in a slightly unique position where like a lot of my friends were people I worked with at uni, and then our group moved to Birmingham, so all of them went with it. So all the people that I used to spend all of my like free social time with are now like an hour away.
Wow.
And then they basically,
that's so hard.
Essentially, they've just like been replaced by my Pokemon like friends.
I love that. It's crazy to think, like, because I went to university in Nottingham, and there was like the only shop that I could go to was Forbidden Planet back then, and it's just every time I see Trident Cards, I'm like, man, I wish that was there when I lived there.
When I went there earlier, he was like, "Oh, you're the one who works at Smith's, right?" Because I was in like a week ago, and he was like, "Yeah, loads of people keep coming in saying they know you," and I was like, "Oh, okay," because like two or three people I work with went in there.
You're famous.
That's that.
Yeah. I was like, I should get commission.
Yeah, you should do. Get a discount.
You should. I had that with a few people that I follow, like work in like local game stores around, and they're like, "Oh, your other half came in here the other day." I was like, "Oh." And he was like, "Oh, I feel like I can't buy you any treats now without it getting back to you." It's happened like 2 or 3 times where people have messaged me. So
no surprises.
Yeah, no surprises here. Although it is handy sometimes, because it's like I do get nudges of like, "Oh, we've got this, that, or the other," and I'm like, "Oh, that's an amazing, handy conversation to have," especially because my nearest shop is like half an hour away. So
but it is really important. Like it is really good if you do make really good friendships with, you know, people in different stores. I know my local Smiths, a couple of the guys in there always will, you know, look out for me because they know that I am a genuine collector. It's like the guys in Game, they managed to hook me up with the UPC just because like they knew that I really wanted it, and they looked out for me. And you know, recently I went in there and gave them like one of the guys like a huge little bundle of different cards that I had that his partner needed for her collection. I was like, "Here, you have these, you know, you've helped me out." It's really good to have good relationships with people in stores because they'll look out for you, so it's good.
Yeah, that's really sweet.
It's important making those kind of relationships because, like, especially like some of the people in like the Discord server that I speak to a lot, like someone will put out like a post to be like, "Oh, I need this." Someone will be like, "Oh, it's fine, I've got it. You can just have it," because they know that in the future that there'll be a situation where like they need something, and then someone else will help them out.
Yeah, it's just scratching backs.
Yeah,
everyone will be okay.
You know, it's just like someone's like, "Oh, I need." Sorry,
I just think people are so surprised, like when people help each other out. Like the other day, someone said they needed a card for their celebration set, and I was like, "Oh, I've got that. I'll just send it to you." And I think they were so shocked. I was like, "Yeah, I'll just send it to you. It's fine." Like, you know, there are genuinely
no drama
out there. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like I don't want anything in return. You just have it.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, definitely. Because in my mind, a lot of the time, like if it's a lot of the times when it's a double, I'm just like, "Oh well, off in the box it goes for like hopefully something worth trading in the future." Like it doesn't, like when you need something like that has value to you. So I get why people have that like mismatch, but It's like, well, actually, it's not helpful to me and my collection goals. So crack on, have it. And it's
I have
nice
that a
making
lot.
people happy.
I have that a lot with like reverses from sets, because like, if I'm not completing the set, reverses are essentially useless to me unless I like them. So like, especially with VMAX Climax, it's just like they would just go in my Japanese bulk box, and Japanese bulk is worth nothing because nobody accepts it. So it will just be in that box indefinitely unless someone asks me for it. Yeah, it's quite similar with the like the ultra rares in VMAX Climax. It's like people are opening so much that like Pikachu VMAX has like no value anymore. So it's like cards like that. It's just like I'm not really going to do anything with them, so you can just have them. Yeah, I like that we've reached a point in the community where like we do have these like little groups of people that just help each other out, and it's nice to see, rather than just everything being sort of like money motivated and I have a more expensive collection than you and I'm going to show off all the time. It's like, you need a reverse Wooloo from Rebel Clash and I have it, so you can have it.
Exactly. That's so wholesome, though. It's like everything.
It is. And for the price of a stamp as well. Like, that's the handy thing about being in like trading cards, is like that's really chill. I can manage that.
Yeah. Right, we've been talking for quite a long time.
Yeah, we have.
I think it's probably a good place to end, because I quite selfishly, I want dinner.
Oh God, yeah, go eat.
Oh my
gosh. So it's fine. I went out for Thai food for lunch. It was very nice.
Oh, nice.
So yeah, thank you for both coming on.
Thanks for inviting us.
Thank you.
It's been lovely chatting. It's not much else to say really. It's just been really nice. So to end off, where can everyone find the both of you? If you want to go first, Nicola, feel free.
So you can find me over on Instagram at @heyitsnicola_ and post lots of random pictures of Pokemon cards and coffee dates, basically.
That is your whole brand.
Brand, yeah.
You can find me on Instagram at charceus or charceus, however you want to say it, but the Pokemon of the game that's coming out soon, but with a CH bolted on the front.
Your on brand new set coming out that you need to have.
Exactly, my namesake.
Yeah.
But yeah,
I've
had a great time.
I'm glad. I tried. I hope that when people come on, they have a good time. Otherwise, it's just I feel a bit bad.
No, it's really fun, really good.
But yeah, I will do all the usual, leaving the links in the description and stuff below. If by some miracle you haven't heard of PokéPicsWithPokéPals, that's every which day of the week do you do it normally?
Normally Tuesdays.
We aim for Tuesday, but work can sometimes get in the way. But recently we've been quite good. Tuesday seems to be our day. Yeah,
and you can find all the historic categories in highlights on both of our pages. So if you fancy joining in, then you can head over there.
That's like Charlotte always says, there's no order. You can go back and do week 1, week 7, week 10, week 20, or you can start now. So any time you can join in, that's just amazing. And make sure to tag us so we can see your picks and use the hashtag.
And also, if you search for the hashtag, it's quite nice because everyone's is there. I've seen a lot of cards on there that I'm like, yeah, that's cool. I want that. So
yeah, that does happen. That is the problem. I end up making lists every time we do a live, and I'm like, oh, I need that card as well. I'll just put that in the list.
But yeah, thanks again. Thanks for joining me. Thank you everyone for listening. There might be one next week. I haven't lined anything up yet. At the end of the last podcast, I said that I was recording this one, and then I was hoping I'd be like, oh, well, there'll be one next week. But hopefully it will be one next week. I'm going to try and commit to them being every week.
Yeah, good luck.
Yeah, it's a good goal.
Yeah, I'm aiming for Monday, so this one should be out on Monday the 17th. So when I'm wrong and it comes out on Wednesday, then everyone will know that I didn't hold myself to it.
I love that. We will
Brilliant.
see. We will see now. You've said it, so potentially you might stick to it.
Yeah, you hope so, but I've said stuff in the past and not stuck to it, so it's fine. Like my 12 podcasts before Christmas, I said that I wanted to do and then didn't do a single one.
Yeah.
So yeah, hopefully next Monday.
Right. Christmas is busy.
Hopefully next Monday
I look
there'll be
forward
one out.
to it.
Yeah, it should be good.
Yeah, and I'm sure everyone will have enjoyed this one as much as we have recording it. So that's good.
Oh, good.
Enjoy your dinner.
Thank you.
Enjoy your food.
I will try. It's fish and chip night, so it's gonna be.
Oh,
it's gonna be good. Yeah. Thank everyone. Thanks for listening again, and I will see you all next time. Goodbye.